Well, Minister, or do we have a Minister? I don't know, answering. All right, well, it's a pity he didn't stay, because this is a massive, massive issue throughout Dublin. And why pay $400,000 to a consultant to create a rejigging of existing bus routes and dress it up as being something more frequent? It's been said by the Minister that this will ease congestion. That means getting people out of cars. Why would people get out of cars to get 2 buses rather than 1? It makes absolutely no sense. In the case of my own area, and it's a pattern obviously from what others are saying, we'll be losing direct buses, the 70 from Dunboyne Littlepace, the 38A Corduff Mulhuddard will lose its bus into the city centre, and the 40D from Tyrrellstown. To be rerouted to one of the busiest shopping centres in the entire country, which will be congested at Saturdays, Christmas and so on. It's been said it will be more frequent. It hasn't been said how many extra buses will be there to cater for all the extra people who are now fighting, joining their friends from other communities in the one place at the interchange for the extra spaces. So, in Greater Blanchardstown, we shouldn't be begging to keep our 3 direct buses into the city. We should have a light rail system. We should have a Lewis from Broombridge or from wherever. We, as a community of 110,000 people, with some of the biggest multinational companies bringing about 25,000 people into the area every day, none of whom seem to have any onus on them to provide extra public transport to cater for those workers. Now, I don't make any apologies for organising meetings, and it's amazing that one of the Labour speakers spent their time whinging and whining about people organising meetings. The reality of it is this: people made it crystal clear to us what they thought. They're not stupid. They know that they're losing buses, and they're not going to put up with it. And we're not going to wait for a few months. We are directing people to engage in the consultation, to make their views very clear. But we need a community-strong campaign to send a clear message to the NTA that this won't be acceptable. I absolutely agree this is about privatisation, be it of the spine routes, the orbital routes, or just cutting off Dublin Bus from even having the local routes. But either way, it's increased isolation for a lot of communities. People do not want to get off a bus once they're on a bus. Nobody wants to do that, especially if you've impaired mobility, if you're older. But even in weather such as ours, why would anyone want to do that? And in some cases, as has been said, now we do know, yes, there are people organising meetings to stick their face on posters, and Fianna Fáil in particular. But, you know, they're the architects of privatisation themselves. This is definitely linked with Minister Ross's plan for privatisation. Only this week, in the last week, we've had the go-ahead service, 10% of buses taken off Dublin Bus, with workers on much worse salaries and conditions, and it's a Fine Gael agenda. None of the lessons have been learned from Britain, where under the Thatcher government, a very similar policy as this government, opened up the bus market for competition, privatised the National Bus Company, and it has meant that unprofitable services have been run down. We have to subsidise public transport. It can't just make a profit. You know, otherwise communities will be left bereft. Many people have been left without transport in London as a result, and fares have skyrocketed. So the idea that this isn't linked with privatisation is very hard to believe, since the Minister is such an admirer of the Ryanair model as well. And lastly, I'd say this is about political pressure, because the Minister does have the legal power to direct the NTA in legislation to stop with a proposal. This proposal does not serve communities in any way, and I'm telling you, there's been meetings of 400 and 500 in Greenhills and many other areas, and people have a right to have their say.
Deputy. Time is up. Thank you very much.